Hi, my name is Devonna Hopkins, and my capstone presentation is on FedEx Corporation, otherwise known as FedEx. FedEx was founded in 1971 by Mr. Fred Smith under the name Federal Express. He used the name Federal because he intended to do business with the Federal Reserve. However, he did not begin delivering packages until 1973 out of Memphis, Tennessee. Later in 1997, FedEx Corporation was formed as the parent holding company for the organization, and now they deliver packages to over 220 countries with 600,000 team members, generating revenue of $93 billion dollars as of the FY22 fiscal year. FedEx expanded its network by acquiring several companies forming the current business segments. FedEx Express was the original company for air-to-ground express services. FedEx Services was formed to support the transportation segments for sales and marketing as well as communication services. FedEx Ground was formed by acquiring RPS for business to business and residential ground services. It was also the originator of the independent contractor model. FedEx Freight was formed by acquiring Viking and American Freightways, which is for less than truckload services. FedEx Office was formed by acquiring Kinko's for digital printing and copying and some shipping services. And then FedEx Logistics was once FedEx Trade Network, which was originally Tower Group International for supply chain solutions, as well as some air to ocean shipping, as well as some customs services. And then finally, recently, FedEx DataWorks was formed so that they could provide insight to data from the FedEx network. I use the pestle analysis to evaluate macro environment factors that will affect FedEx. Political changes can impact employees, so I selected wage legislation, work week regulations, employee benefits, and safety regulations. And this impacts or governs how FedEx will treat its employees. There's also economic factors such as labor costs, unemployment rate, economic growth rate, and inflation rates. And these were all illustrated throughout the pandemic as there were labor shortages, unemployment, as well as inflation. Social factors include culture, demographics, and leisure interests. FedEx has a big marketing strategy, and so these factors determine how we'll market to its customers. Technological factors include innovation, the impact of cost from that innovation, and the rate in which the technology improves. FedEx is big on innovation, and so it keeps an eye out on what's happening in the market and what it needs to do and what its competitors are doing as far as innovation so that it can have a competitive advantage. Environmentally, consider the weather, sustainability, and alternate fuels. Weather truly impacts the way packages are delivered. Delays in our standards could be affected or impacted by weather. Sustainability, FedEx has a program in which it wants to be totally sustainable by 2040. And then it's always looking at alternative fuels that are friendly to our environment. There's also legal factors to consider that involve employment law, safety law, and data breaches or data protection to avoid data breaches. Employment law, which impacts our independent contract model, and safety laws on how safe our hubs are for our employees. So these are all factors that are considered um, for FedEx. Using Porter's five forces, I looked at the competitive advantage of FedEx. And beginning with the rivalry of competitors, FedEx competes with UPS and the United States Postal Services. And those are few companies that have a share in the market share. And so they are competing on pricing, on quality, and innovation. The bargaining power of buyers is high because there's a large customer base and there's plenty of opportunities for customers to switch between the different competitors, looking for the lowest price. The threat of new entrants, that's low as far as a threat towards FedEx because FedEx has a very strong global brand, has great name recognition, and it would be very expensive for an entrant to develop a network that can compete with FedEx. There's also government regulations that could be a barrier for new entrants. The bargaining power of suppliers is it's kind of low because there's a lot of standardized products and services for the suppliers. However, for the aircrafts and vehicles, it's high because of the specializations in the type of vehicles and aircrafts and ships that are needed for this industry. And the threat of substitute products is low because FedEx has a large portfolio of what it would have to compete with and has a very big marketing strategy which helps develop its branding. Using a SWOT analysis, I looked at the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats for FedEx. And beginning with the strengths, again, reiterating the brand recognition for FedEx. It's one of the most recognizable companies throughout the world. It has a global presence, again, in over 220 countries. It was founded on innovation and continues to innovate and always look for new and better ways to um, produce its services. It has a large portfolio with different types of industries within its network. So weaknesses for FedEx is the operating costs can be high given its business model. It does have most of its market share out of the US, so it has a dependency on the US market. Customer service can be challenging um, as the package handlers deliver packages and sometimes receive negative feedback. The opportunities are emerging markets, so Asia and other countries, India is a big presence that FedEx is looking to enter. E-commerce is another opportunity to expand, as well as artificial intelligence and digital technology. Some threats are uncertainties, such as the pandemic showed that could cause labor shortages, cause FedEx to reroute packages from one hub to another, creating inefficiencies and not having streamlined between its different networks. And that also showed up with labor shortages. There's also self-insurance for its contractor model that can be costly. It's possibly even possibly new rivals could be a threat if someone's able to enter the market and make a big difference. FedEx has a new CEO and a new business strategy of operating independently but working collaboratively. This speaks to the corporate strategy as FedEx is a conglomerate of 7 business segments with unrelated diversification. So there's a few of the segments that are part of the transportation network, but then there are other segments, as I mentioned earlier, that are not, like FedEx Services, DataWorks, and Logistics. The company structure is hierarchical. There is a organized of a line of managers. However, decision making is distributed among all those lines of management. It is kind of a tall structure because there's many lines between each organization's CEO. However, they do a good job of making sure that everyone is included in the decision making. The strategic issue I decided to address is how can FedEx streamline its shipping networks to operate with optimal efficiency. Currently, FedEx Express, FedEx Ground, and FedEx Freight are all part of the transportation network to deliver packages to customers. And sometimes it is not as efficient as it could be. Um, for instance, two different operating companies could deliver packages to one person's home and without knowing that the other one was there. That is because they have different networks and different legacy systems of which each company uses independently. And so there is opportunity to optimize efficiencies by addressing this problem. My recommendation for FedEx is to combine the package delivery business segments and minimize the FedEx Ground independent contractor model. Currently, FedEx Express, FedEx Ground, and FedEx Freight all operate independently. And it would be beneficial for FedEx to possibly combine these networks so that they could communicate and deliver packages to the customers. As it was done during the pandemic, FedEx had to divert packages from one network to the other, which increased costs. If these were all on one operating system, they would be able to communicate and be able to know which network to send the package, and there would be no duplication. And I know that the issue comes from legacy systems from companies who were acquired, but that could be an investment for FedEx to combine these networks so that they could reduce costs by having one system. And as they do that, they would have to address the FedEx Ground independent contractor model, which also contributes to high operating costs due to legal matters in which it has to defend the model. So if they minimize the contractor model, they've changed it in the past, they can continue to work on it and streamline it so that states and the government understands how it operates so they wouldn't have to continue to defend it and work against the business strategy and cost additional money um, as it has to work with the independent service providers. So I just think that it would be beneficial if they streamlined everything and just have one system for all the transportation segments, and they could continue to be conglomerate by having FedEx DataWorks, logistics, and the other office and services, so they could still be diversified with products, but just have a portfolio that consists of transportation and then the other business segments. So just cut it down by combining those three. Thank you.